This first story might catch you somewhat off guard because this week we added a new entry to Protect the Wild's Blood Business Directory. If you have no idea what this is, our Blood Business Directory, basically a site where we list companies and organisations linked to the hunting and shooting of animals. But this latest edition isn't a hunt supporting pub or a shooting estate like many of our other 600 plus entries. It's actually a church in Dorset, specifically St Peter's Church, and following this Facebook post it emerged that Reverend Canon Richard Hancock recently welcomed a local hare hunt, Purbeck and Bovington beagles, to a special service honouring St Hubert, the patron saint of hunting. I mean, I had no idea there even was a patron saint of hunting, I can't lie. The hunting of animals isn't exactly what I think of when I think of Christianity. Clearly I'm not up to speed here, so I did some digging, and apparently, and I'm going to quote this as I think it's ridiculous, St Hubert has been described as the patron saint of hunters and is honoured by sportsmen as the originator of ethical hunting behaviour. I'll let you make your own minds up as to whether those who hunt hares with dogs are ethical sportsmen. Now, hare hunting isn't as well known as fox hunting, but it's really similar. Even though there are way fewer packs, in fact there are only about 40 beagle packs left in England, Wales and Northern Ireland that still hunt hares on foot. Pip Donovan from Action Against Fox Hunting did actually reach out to Reverend Hancock to ask why he welcomed the hunt, but she says he dismissed her pretty quickly, even hung up the phone on her. Later he emailed her saying he's been getting backlash. I mean, is that really too surprising? He also claimed the beagles weren't formally invited, just that two members and their hounds turned up without notice. Now, okay, maybe that's true, but Hancock isn't new to rural crime issues. He actually served on the Dorset Rural Crime Commission, so he should really know about the legal grey areas hunts often operate in, like using a rabbiting loophole to get around the Hunting Act. But he still agreed to pose with the hunters, so I mean, personally, I can understand why it appears the church is condoning these practices. He's willingly agreed to stand outside and pose for a photo. Look, hey, maybe I'm a tad biased. I'd be interested to know what you think. Should the vicar have been more firm on declining the photo? Personally, I feel like any organisation or person should speak up against the hunting of wildlife, especially a church. With all the symbolism it has as this moral institution, you'd expect it to stand with the vulnerable. In this case, the hares that are hunted and killed for entertainment, not seemingly endorsing the activity. When figures like Reverend Hancock pose with hunting groups, whether that's intentional or not, they're giving legitimacy to these practices, and that's why I felt it was important to highlight this story. But it's not all doom and gloom, no, as the other week the government announced the appointment of Ruth Davis as the very first special representative for nature. Hurrah! I suppose that means we'll see an end to the slaughter of tens of thousands more badgers, and serious action taken against the bird shooting industry for the persecution of birds of prey. Or will it just be business as usual? I mean, look, I'm sorry for sounding cynical, but I just can't take this government seriously. When DEFRA Minister Steve Reed declares Britain is, I quote, back on the global stage to support nature's recovery, just weeks after sanctioning the continuation of the senseless badger cull until the next bloody election. It's a joke. Are we meant to just sit here and pretend like wildlife isn't being massacred both illegally and legally? As vet Ian McGill put it, removing badgers is a very stupid thing to do if you're trying to conserve biodiversity. It's just a crass hooliganism. It's environmental hooliganism. We're not going to just pack up and go away on the issue of the badger cull. As much as I'm sure DEFRA and the government would love it if we stopped banging on about this issue, especially as every passing day proves just how insane culling of badgers really is. And the recent BBC documentary fronted by Sir Brian May gave even more evidence the real issue lies in the herd.
We tested our slurry. 1 gram of the slurry on Robert's farm was enough to infect a cow.
Yeah, that's No,
That's way too much.
That's a gram.
So this amount of slurry can infect a cow.
I mean, it's almost laughable. I mean, honestly, how much evidence needs to be collated before things actually change? Because it's becoming clearer and clearer that cows are the elephants in the room in all of this. The treatment of these animals is awful. The poor conditions in which they live, the horrendous biosecurity measures in place, they're the real reasons that the prevalence of TB is still at similar levels to what it was over a decade ago. But nobody wants to speak this truth or stand up to the NFU and the farming lobbyists. Well, stay tuned, because our efforts against the badger cull are only ramping up. In the meantime, if you're as angered as I am, please do head over to our website. That's where you can learn more about the badger cull, why it's completely failed and horrific experiment that for over a decade has seen the deaths almost 250,000 badgers. We've been working with leading ecologist Tom Langton now on this for many months, and I'd really urge you to read his papers if you want a more scientific understanding and breakdown of the mess that we're in. We must continue to do all that we can to ensure science and reason wins. This government has gone on record to say the cull is ineffective, and best know we're going to hold them to this. Thanks for watching this video. These weekly uploads every Wednesday at 7 p.m. will be our way of getting the issues we campaign on to a wider audience and to keep you in the loop with the work that we do. Please do bear with me. It's not my usual thing ranting into a camera. I've usually got some mate or family member on the receiving end, but having said that, please do leave some feedback. Tell me what you think. We want to keep you in the loop with everything Protect the Wild, everything concerning British wildlife. And so if you did enjoy this video and support our mission to end the hunting and shooting of animals for so-called sport, please do subscribe. It's the best way to ensure you don't miss out on any of our future videos.